SRPs, Yahoo Sports Rewards points, $30 of them by signing up through us at awesemo.com. MLB tab, you click that. You click on the Spotlight Hitters article. You see the Yahoo link right at the top. Sign up through us at awesemo.com. Get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports Rewards points to play just as good as real cash on the site to use, to play, to win, to withdraw. I'm going to start using that, Alex. But yeah, Yahoo's Daily Fantasy Sports, some monster contests coming up for NFL this week. Go ahead, check it out. I think you'll like it. And most contests, no MME, 10 entry max, 150 in the $500,000 baller, but some awesome contests, some smaller ones if you're working with a lower bankroll. But be sure to get your YSRPs up to $30 when you sign up through us. It's in the Spotlight Hitters article. It's Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. I'm Dave Lochran. That is Alex Baker, Awesemo himself, the #1 ranked DFS player in the world. What's up, man?
Not much. Looking forward to talking some MLB because I've been focusing a lot on NFL along with everyone else, and we don't have any NFL games today, so everyone's playing MLB. But people probably aren't trying as hard as they have been. So I think there's some good money to be made here.
So we're going to talk baseball. We got 14 games. Before we do, just throwing it out there, Antonio Brown released by the New England Patriots. So huge news there if you're into football, which everyone should be. I have a question for you. Do you think he will get picked up by another team? His agent, Drew Rosenhaus, everyone knows Drew Rosenhaus, says it's unfortunate things didn't work out with the Patriots, but Antonio is healthy and looking forward to his next opportunity in the NFL. He wants to play the game he loves and hopes to play for another team soon. If I had to guess, I'd say he'd be on another team by next week.
Yeah, Laffy, I have some breaking news for you. He's actually on another team already, Team Awesemo. You're doing a show with him tomorrow.
Yes, I don't know, man. I think he'll get signed. I don't know by who, but teams need some depth out there, and they will definitely look to sign him. We'll see what happens, but let's jump into it. We've got 14 games. New York Yankees, Toronto Blue Jays, J.A. Happ, and the fellow whose name I always struggle with, Jacob Waguespack. New York Yankees against Waguespack at Yankee Stadium. You're always going to see a high total in these games when the Yankees, whether they run out their best or worst lineup. Is there any interest in pitching here, specifically J.A. Happ, before we talk bats?
I'd be interested at the right price for Happ. I mean, the Yankees are a huge favorite in this game. Toronto's lineup, though, is actually quite good. We've been seeing some huge performances from them recently, and they have a lot of power throughout the lineup. I mean, they got, let me count them, 5 different guys or 6 guys who have above average power in this lineup. They also strike out at an above average rate, so there could be some potential for strikeouts, but Happ is not the world's greatest pitcher, only 20% over the year. So I don't have it to be a terrific spot, and he's priced up quite a bit across the industry, so I don't really see myself getting to him today.
All right, so again, should be no surprise to anybody, but the Yankees with a monster total. That seems to be the case every time they play. We've got a ton of games. We got 28 teams on the mound, so you definitely have to be a little bit more particular in terms of who you're looking to roster. But they have a run total of 6 against Waguespack. Do you like the Yankee bats today?
Yeah, I think they're going to be a good option. I mean, there's always a ton of talent in the Yankees lineup, and they're priced like they are good players. So I think it's not going to be the optimal lineup from a projection standpoint by any means, but I don't think we should be worried about Waguespack at all. His xFIP on the year is 5.25, strikeout percent of 18%. Not really a good pitcher, so that'll be a nice boost to these guys. And the ownership actually looks pretty low tonight on the Yankees, so I can see some potential there, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I always like the Yankees pretty much. It's just, number one, some of the prices here are not nearly as bad as they usually are. Like, of course, they're priced up, but like Frazier at 3,800 on DraftKings is pretty appealing. for Gleyber Torres, LeMahieu, you're going to have to pay for him, Judge. But a few of them actually are pretty easy to get into lineups, and I'm really not opposed to the bottom of the order either. Do you like anyone in the bottom of the order from like Gardner to Frazier to Romine to Wade?
For sure, I like Frazier. He's the guy at the bottom of the order who has some pop. He has 22% ISO on the year, or I guess 220 ISO, I should say. Austin Romine, batting eighth, is a guy who doesn't have much power or any sort of batting ability. I guess his batting average is slightly above average, but that's about all I can say. And then Tyler Wade, he hasn't shown any sort of power this year. Only 90 ISO over 90 plate appearances. So those guys really aren't going to jump off the page at me. I'm looking at the top 7 in the order here.
Do you have any interest in Toronto? You mentioned that they had been producing solid run totals recently, running out some solid lineups. Grichuk's finally hitting after several months of being completely stagnant. Biggio's been great. A lot of this team has looked good. Alfred actually leading off here against the lefty. What are your thoughts on Toronto bats?
I think Happ is probably a below average pitcher, so I think that you can definitely stack against him. And the only question is the ownership going to make it worth it? I think that the lineup today, it's got some good values. One, like you mentioned, Alfred leading off. This guy is only $7 on Yahoo, $2,000 on FanDuel, so he's an amazing value. But the lineup as a whole is priced up a pretty decent amount, and the ownership on the players I like the most is the highest, with Gurriel being one of the more popular players on FanDuel today. So I think that mitigates my interest to some extent.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the total at 4.6 is, for today's baseball, not that high, but I still think it's a high upside spot only because somebody like J.A. Happ is if there's one spot he shows, he's allowed 33 home runs this year, man. He is up there towards the top of the league in home runs allowed, most of them coming against opposite-handed hitters. So I do think there's upside. It's a favorable park for bats. But, yeah, like you said, depending on where ownership is, that definitely plays a role. And right now, I think Toronto, I don't think they're that high, though, right? Are they?
They're not, but I do expect them to be owned given their recent performances. And
right.
Also, I mean, they're just not projected to do that well today. As you said, 4.6 team total.
Right.
That's about, they're 28 teams, and that's about 20th or so. So I think that you really got to get an ownership edge if you're going to pull off a team like this, and I don't see that in our current ownership projection.
For sure. All right, let's talk about Baltimore and Seattle then. Felix Hernandez, Aaron Brooks is your bulk reliever here, getting the majority of the innings, or expected to, out of the bullpen. Starting it off, Hernandez against Baltimore, Brooks against Seattle. Is there anything you like here from a pitching standpoint? Two not-so-good pitchers against two not-so-good baseball teams.
Well, that sounds like a pretty good recipe for bats, but not for pitching. But actually, I could get myself some Felix tonight. He went super deep in his last start, and he's 5K. I mean, he's not a great pitcher at this point. Only 19% strikeouts on the year, but he's fully stretched out. And he is going against Baltimore. Their lineup today is not bad. It's about average. We've been talking about it a lot on our shows, but they call up some good players like Austin Hayes, one of their better prospects. He's batting 5th. I saw Adam tweeting out his highlight grab, tweeting about him and how better than anything in NFL last night. Did you see that?
What was it?
I guess Austin Hayes stole some home run. I mean, I didn't think it was that cool, but Adam was saying that it was pretty impressive. And a little bit better than mine.
No, I'm afraid I missed that.
You haven't been following baseball very closely?
No, I was watching an absolutely fantastic NFL game where a running back broke off a 69-yard run in the fourth quarter, and that brought him to 61 yards. He was in the negatives midway through the fourth quarter. What a travesty. I think Mariota got sacked 10 times. outrageously bad game, but I watched every second of it, Alex, because I like football, even if it's torture. Do you like hitters from this game?
I like them better than I liked the game last night. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But I think we're setting up to be a game where, with the good batting potential. I mean, the over/under is 10.5 in Camden Yards. That is really, really high, and that just speaks to how poor the quality of these guys is. Felix Hernandez, 5 xFIP on the year. That's about 3/4 of a run per game, worse than average. Aaron Brooks, actually, could see myself getting to because he is super cheap, but another poor pitcher, 5.3 xFIP. And as I mentioned, Baltimore's lineup is getting better and better. Seattle's lineup is respectable today. I have them for about 5% less power than average, which for them is quite good. And the prices look good. So I think that this could be a pretty sneaky game, given that baseball fans probably aren't going to be thinking the Seattle and Baltimore teams are that good.
Yeah. I really don't mind this at all. And like you pointed out, it has not the Baltimore lineup, the team in general really hasn't been that terrible from a fantasy standpoint, at least. They have a 5.5 total. Mariners 5.9. I don't know. This seems like a spot that could end up being really interesting. Seattle right now getting around 4% ownership as a stack, 3% for Baltimore. Neither of them have, actually, let me ask you this, though. We use this top stack tool, which you can find at awesomeo.com. awesomeo.com/join will get you where you need to go to get yourself set up with a subscription for Awesomeo Plus. Just use Deeper Dive, one word. Sign up code Deeper Dive, get 50% off your first month. But right now, Seattle has a double. Their top stack probability is double their projected ownership. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I forgot that the top stacks is free on Fridays. So make sure if you're not a member, try that out today. I feel like this tool really gives an edge in the game because it's easy to figure out who the best plays are, but it's harder to figure out who's inefficiently owned. And today, Seattle is a double whammy. I mean, they're not owned, and they have a lot of potential as an away team, which just gives them another inning to work with. And I think that's a really good recipe for success.
Yeah, absolutely. And that top stack tool allows you, like you said, to kind of identify things that might have been harder to see just, with your own two eyes, doing it on your own. It really sets things up nicely. So you have kind of a foundation to go off of with where the top stacked are and which ones are over owned, which ones are under owned. It looks like Seattle definitely going under owned here. Boston and Tampa Bay, Charlie Morton, Rick Porcello. Morton's been outstanding this season, but this is a very difficult matchup, even if it's not at Fenway. And then Rick Porcello has been the exact opposite of outstanding. And I just very rarely have interest in somebody like him. But I know once in a while you're willing to get to someone like Porcello if the matchup and the price is right. Is this one of those days?
I mean, Porcello doesn't strike guys out, and he's going up against the Rays team, who have been really good this year. They're definitely improving year to year, and they are a big favorite in this game with Charlie Morton on the mound. So I don't really see myself getting to Porcello. But Morton, I see, is popular on Yahoo and Fanduel. I'm not as high on him as the field, I don't think. I mean, Boston, they're a really good lineup. I have them for 10% more bases than an average team, and they strike out about 15% less than an average team. So that's a huge knock to Morton's chances of success. The park in Tampa is a good one for pitching, so that's a boost, but still, I don't think he really justifies the price tag where Draftkings he's just unplayable at 11K, FanDuel's at 9.5K, Yahoo 48. I think that those are all a little bit higher than I like to spend on them.
Yeah, I think so as well. Now, do you have imagine, well, I'll ask you this first. Are you looking towards any Boston bats on such a deep slate with so many high run totals?
They're going to be really sneaky tonight. I mean, the ownership for every player is 1% or lower. So I could see maybe them being a good contrarian play. They are priced quite well on Yahoo. Andrew Benintendi is notably $7, which seems like quite the bargain. But on Draftkings and Fanduel, they're minus values for your team, and the matchup versus Morton isn't anything to be excited about. So this might be the one day of the year where I don't have any Boston lineups. What do you?
No, I'm with you. I just don't think it's. I have a ton of respect for Morton, and I'm sure there will be a start here and there where he isn't great, but this whole pitching staff is good. So even once you get into the bullpen, it's a good relief crew. I just don't. I don't see a whole lot of. There's always with baseball, anything can happen, right? Like there's always upside, but I think, like you said, being negative value with some of these prices, it's not even that the salaries are insane, because they're not. They're actually, many of these Boston bats are cheap in this matchup, so I get it. I totally do. But I think there's a lot of other teams to get to, and one that you had just mentioned was Seattle that stands out. They're a little bit more pricey than I'd like, but it's not crazy. So I think I'm probably going elsewhere. What are you doing with Tampa Bay bats?
I think they're kind of on the fringe of playable. There are a couple guys on each site that are pretty good values, notably Joey Wendell. He is 3,300 on DraftKings and 2,600 on FanDuel, leading off for the Rays. I feel like the Rays must have some sort of advanced analytics going on here, because I can't see any reason this guy should be leading off. He's only got an on base 29% of the time so far this year, over 232 plate appearances, and his stolen bases are 2.7% of plate appearances, which is good but not great. But he's super cheap, so I think that puts him firmly in play as a salary relief one-off.
All right. Cleveland, Philly, Shane Bieber, Drew Smiley. I always find spots with Bieber to be fascinating, because he always seems to get lower ownership than I would originally suspect. And I think a lot of it comes down to he's had a bunch of difficult matchups, but the guy is just so damn good. Like right now, and he's also very expensive, don't get me wrong. But he's 8% owned on DraftKings right now, as one of the highest upside pitchers in the entire league. He's 11% on FanDuel. And then over on Yahoo, Shane Bieber is 26% because he's $51. But is there any merit to considering him today, just based on pure skill set against the Phillies?
I think, he's kind of in consideration for how good, he is a really good pitcher, and probably not the best spot of the night, but 31% strikeouts on the year. Although the Philadelphia Phillies they have good power in this lineup, they get on base at a good rate. They also strike out at a little bit more than average, so it's not the worst fantasy matchup in the world, but nothing to get excited about either.
Okay. Any interest in Drew Smiley?
I'm sentimental about Smiley since I've had him so many nights, but tonight probably isn't one of them. I mean, Cleveland is one of the better lineups today, being no exception. They do strike out at a reasonable rate. The bottom of the lineup, Franmil Reyes, Perez, Chang, Velasquez, those guys all strike out a ton, but then the first 5 batters are below average, so it's kind of an interesting lineup they're rolling out. But all in all, I mean, not a lot of fantasy value going against a tough team.
Okay. So you have Smiley and you have Bieber. I mean, really, I'd have zero interest, even if I'm not playing Bieber. I just have zero interest in looking towards the Phillies. Maybe you are different here. I think their total is up at 4 runs. Let me make sure here. Phillies implied total is at 4.3, according to your lineup builder page. Cleveland at 5.6. I mean, do you have any interest in Philly bats? If not, we can talk these Cleveland hitters here. against a guy in Smiley who has been super homer prone both to lefties and righties?
For one, I got one off. I got Jay Bruce on DraftKings and Yahoo. I mean, this guy has a 31% ISO or 310 ISO on the year, over 300 plate appearances, and he's 2,300 on FanDuel, 11 on Yahoo, cleanup spot, and that makes a really nice GPP play regardless of who's on the mound. So I can see myself landing on him.
Okay, is that it though?
Yeah, I mean, Brad Miller also is super cheap across the industry, but his fantasy value isn't nearly as high.
Okay. Did you want to say anything else on the Cleveland hitters against Smiley?
I have to agree with you. I mean, like, it's a good matchup for home runs. Smiley has given up a ton of them this year, as you mentioned. His home run to fly ball rate is 22%, though. I think the league average is in the low teens, so he's been doing something wrong or just getting unlucky, probably the latter. But still, these Cleveland Bats are super cheap, depending on the site. Like on FanDuel, Mercado, both under 3K. Franmil Reyes is 3K. Yasiel Puig, 3,200. So I think that like stretching the order is going to be super high owned, but also really good value.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's hard to believe they won't be popular, but honestly, I was surprised that their ownership is as low as it is. What's funny to me though is, you know, top stack probability here on Cleveland is 10th on the day. I thought it'd be a little higher against Smiley.
Yeah, well, the top stacks, like one thing going against them is they are a home team. Home teams have a little bit less potential to beat the top stack because if they're out
the last inning, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that makes a big difference. It's like more than a 10% difference in at bats. And the 5.5 team total is good, but not excellent.
Makes sense to me. All right. Let's talk about the next one here. We're moving along on the deeper dive. Cincinnati, New York Mets, Jacob Degrom, Luis Castillo. Degrom here coming in with, you know, the highest projected ownership on DraftKings, FanDuel, and on Yahoo across the board. It's a clean sweep, Alex, going up against Cincinnati, a team that, you know, has a extremely low total, as they should. Let's see what we got. 3.5 for Cincinnati, 4.8 for the Mets. Talk to me about DeGrom.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to like about DeGrom. I have noticed that people do tend to overrate him a little bit. His strikeout percentage of 32% is one of the best in baseball, but there are a lot of guys ahead of him still. But he's still priced to the moon every single time he pitches. He's been having an amazing season, though. 2.6 ERA, 3.1 xFIP, only one batter walked or hit per inning. These are elite numbers. And the matchup for Cincinnati is about average. So I like his chances of being a strong play today. Their team total is 3.5. That's a lot lower than Bieber is facing 4.2. So that's 0.7 of a run difference between DeGrom and Bieber, even though they're the same price. So I think he makes a pretty nice play as a spend-up option.
Okay. Now, Castillo on the other side is also a extremely competent pitcher. He's priced up, not crazy high, but you're definitely going to pay a bit for him. 10-3 on FanDuel, DraftKings, he's 10-5. I mean, pretty much everywhere you're playing him. Castillo's, I don't want to say he comes at a premium, but he's definitely expensive. Ownership on Castillo, though, a lot of it having to do with DeGrom and a few other pitchers, is not very high. He's $46 on Yahoo. That's 8% ownership right now on him. With 46 seems lower, seems pretty low compared to where he's at everywhere else. I guess that would be comparable to like the 9K range or so, mid 9K. 2% ownership on FanDuel and on DraftKings. Luis Castillo also coming in low, 11%, but higher than the other two sites. Is there any reason to look at Castillo today based on just no ownership, or are we better off just going with Degrom against the Reds?
I think the short answer is that there is no reason. I mean, the bottom line is this guy's a 170 dog at home.
Yep.
And he's the same price as the guy on the other side who's a better pitcher, has a better matchup. The long answer is, I mean, baseball, like, you don't know what will happen. 46 on Yahoo seems about like the price he should be. So, I mean, if he was like more like 8K or 9K on Fanduel and Yahoo, or I mean, Fanduel and Draftkings, he'd be pretty good play. But since we're price sensitive, especially with the pitchers, I think we can go elsewhere.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you. If I were going to go anywhere, it would be Yahoo because I think it's reasonable. But outside of that, it's really tough to justify any of that. I don't really have interest in hitters from either side, even if I'm not playing Castillo. I think this is a game where I'd feel more comfortable just getting away from, unless it's on the mound. What about you? Are you targeting bats from the Mets?
Yeah, I mean, like this is the pitching matchup of the day for sure. So bats aren't really that appealing. I think that the Mets on FanDuel, it could be like a deep sleeper, but still, you're really trying to get lucky if you're going with them.
Yeah, it seems like the definition of unnecessary. I just don't see the need to get there. With the White Sox and the Detroit Tigers, you have Dylan Cease and Jordan Zimmerman. Dylan Cease, had a lot of hype coming up, and he's had a few good starts. He's also had a couple really bad starts, but now he's facing the Detroit Tigers, who are essentially capable of making anybody look good. Cease not getting any ownership, and I think because his price is reasonably high, but I'm very curious what you're doing with Dylan Cease. He's had a couple really strong games. We know coming into the league, the kid had some serious strikeout upside, and Detroit's just a god awful baseball team. What are your thoughts here on Dylan Cease? Any interest on either of the three sites?
Yeah, I like him. Trying to figure out kind of in my crunch here, but I think that he's a nice play because of the price mostly and the matchup with the Tigers. They strike out about average, but they're below average in every other department. And Cease is a 140 favorite. Tigers have a 4.5 team total, but the main point is like he gets the strikeouts 24% of the year, and he's dirt cheap on Yahoo at 31, FanDuel 6,300, and even on DraftKings, I think he's more fairly priced at 8,300. But I do like the idea of maybe going him as your SP1 and going to someone dirt cheap as your SP2 and spending up on some bats. So I could see myself rolling with that strategy tonight.
Yeah, it makes sense. And there are a few guys that or a few teams that would make it feel pretty worthwhile. Many of those teams we haven't even gotten to yet, but the bats are just in really good spots. What are you doing with hitters against Cease, and more specifically, any interest in the White Sox against Jordan Zimmerman?
I think that you gotta like the chances of the White Sox against Zimmerman. I mean, this is a guy in the league because the Tigers don't want to call up anyone better than him and start the clock.
Their ownership is just crazy.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is Zimmerman is projected to be high on too on draft.
Yeah, it's one of those games. Yep.
This is just a game where everyone's on this game for some reason. I guess the price mostly, but there's some Zimmerman at 4,800. I have to give him some credit. He hasn't been horrible this year. 4.9 extra. His ERA of 6.3 is way worse, but the main problem with him, he doesn't get a lot of strikeouts, 16% on the year. But this White Sox lineup is filled with strikeouts. I have them about 15% better than average, and he's 4,800. So I think that plus matchup puts him in play. But then the White Sox also, man, there's some really cheap White Sox tonight.
Who are your favorites?
I mean, the guy that's jumping off the page are two of them. There's Gomer Sanchez at $2,700, $2,408 batting leadoff. I mean, this guy will probably get 5 plate appearances, and he's like almost minimum price. Not a good fantasy player. I mean, he has 70 ISO on the year. He's still on a few bags, but not a great GPP play potential, but he's so cheap that he makes a really nice part of a stack. Daniel Palka also is the minimum across the industry. This guy, on the other hand, like he hasn't had any extra base hits in the majors yet, which is why he earned this price tag. But in the minors, he had pretty good ISO, and I have him projected to be above average at extra bases. So I'm willing to take a chance that maybe today he finally busts through.
Okay. Well, we move on to Miami and Washington. Kind of another interesting spot regarding pitching. Anibal Sanchez is another pitcher who, kind of burst back onto the scene this year. He really hasn't been bad at all. He might not be a particularly good strikeout pitcher, but he's done a good job at just keeping runners from crossing the plate. In large part, doing really well against bad teams, which is kind of important. And even some great starts against good teams. I mean, recently he went scoreless across 7 innings against Atlanta. I think he went and had a great start against the Cubs. I think it was close to a complete game, as a matter of fact. He's had some really good performances. Here's one against the Dodgers, 7 one-run innings. So it's not like Sanchez has been bad at all. Actually, he's been pretty good. And now he gets a terrible Miami team. Are you at all interested in him now that his price is kind of up there?
I have tepid interest. I think that he's been getting a little bit lucky on this year. There's more than a one gap between his ERA and xFIP. The park though is nice, and the matchup versus the Marlins is always good. They don't have a batter in the order that is above average in power. They strike out at above average rates, so it's really only the ability of Sanchez holding him back here. He's mid-price across the industry, so I think he's in play, but I don't think he's going to be worth the ownership. It's going to be significant across all 3 sites.
Okay. Well, then let me ask you this. You've got on the other side of this game, Robert Duggar. Does he stand out to you, or do hitters stand out to you, or is this a Manny special?
Oh, good call, Manny. I was listening to his daily podcast the other day, and apparently there's this one guy who game stacks every single day in baseball. He only plays stacks of the 2 teams opposing each other every day. So you can get some interesting nuggets listening to Manny. Manny special, of course, one where we're not interested in either side. This is not a Manny special. The Washington Bats are going to be one of my favorite plays today.
Okay.
I think the ownership is going to be super low, and they have one of the higher team totals on the night. They're on the road. The only negative is the park. I think that Miami's indoors, so that makes it not as good for Bats. Duggar has been good this year with a 3.9 ERA, but his xFIP is 6. So I think that there's a significant chance that Washington will break the slate today, and they just don't seem to be owned a lot.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, a couple of reasons. One of it just being in Miami. People don't like that, bad park. But there's just a lot of power in this team, a lot of quality bats, and they have, according again to the lineup builder, 5.9 run implied total. They're favored by they have an implied total more than 2 runs higher than the Marlins. So it's definitely an interesting spot. Atlanta and San Francisco, you've got Mike Foltynewicz and Tyler Beede. Foltynewicz coming off a couple really good starts. He's actually seems to have turned it around. Swinging strike rate is up. K rate is up a little bit. Right at the end of the season, it's an important time for him to be good, and he has been recently. Now he's got San Francisco. But if you're playing Folty, you're also paying for Folty, and at least on DraftKings, on FanDuel, he's 7,700. But is this a spot where Folty comes into play for you?
I think on FanDuel, where he's cheap. On DraftKings, the price increase really makes up for that recent performance that you're describing. And San Francisco, one of our punching bags of the year, but their lineup actually has gotten significantly stronger over time. Yastrzemski leading off is a solid player.
He's been good.
Yeah, Longo and Vogt have been good. Alex Dickerson. So really, it's only a couple guys like Brandon Crawford and the pitcher spot that are really dead spots in the order. So not a matchup I love, but the price tag of $7,700 on FanDuel was pretty decent, so I could take some shots there.
Okay. So the Bats, though, if Fultz not someone we're super high on it, and you think San Francisco's been a significantly better, does that mean it's pretty much just to stay away on both sides and not a spot where you're actively targeting and seeking out Giants bats?
Yeah, I think that I'm mostly staying away. I see Vogt is only $7 on Yahoo at catcher, so that could be your cash game catcher if you want to play him, but that's about it.
Okay. Any hitters for Atlanta?
Yeah, like Atlanta. I mean, 5.7 team total. Tyler Beatty, someone that we like in DFS, but a below average pitcher. 4.75 xFIP on the year. Atlanta seems to not have outrageous ownership, and they have some good potential tonight, so I can see myself finding them.
Okay. Favorite bats from Atlanta, if you had to name a couple of them?
Freddie Freeman, always a threat to put up some home runs. Josh Donaldson as well. And Brian McCann. He's super cheap on FanDuel and Yahoo, and he has some extra base upside.
Okay. Then we move to the next game, team with the highest top stack potential on the entire slate. That is Minnesota going up against Kansas City right now. Minnesota top stack potential is 11. Next closest team is 8. Remember, Top Stack Tool is free today. Check that out. And if you like what you see, awesemo.com/join. Use the sign-up code DeeperDive, one word, to get 50% off your first month of all access at awesemo.com. That's the Top Stack Tool, the ownership projections, the player projections, the lineup builder. We have the Fantasy Cruncher add-on that you can grab all of our premium articles and all of our tools for NFL, for baseball, for basketball coming up. We've got some great stuff in the works and all of that. And when you do sign up, using that sign-up code DeeperDive, hit us up in Slack chat, introduce yourself, and let us know who you are. So, you become part of the Awesemo family. Where else would you rather be? All right. So Alex, Minnesota, Kansas City, Eric Skoglund, and we know he's not good, which is why you have such a massive total, the highest on the slate for Minnesota. And then Randy Dobnak. Like, what are you doing with this game?
I think that it's going to be a really popular one for bats with the over-under of 10.5, but also a popular game. And it depends a little bit on the site. I mean, Minnesota is expensive on Yahoo. They're super cheap on FanDuel, and then they're average on Draftkings. And the ownership will correlate kind of in that order. So I think that it's going to be hard to make a ton of money like rostering him tonight because a lot of people are going to have him. But there's good reason to have them because they're cheap and they have the best spot of the night versus the guy who has an 8 xFIP on the year, a 3% strikeout rate. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Okay. Would you say this is one of your top teams? I mean, because you have pricing factored in, ownership factored in. Is this one of your favorite teams from a stacking perspective?
Yes. I think that I'm going to have them a lot because you don't have to be contrarian at every spot. So on DraftKings, their ownership is pretty reasonable compared to their spots. So I could see myself having them in some lineups with some sneakier pitchers or a second stack that's sneaky. On FanDuel, they're super popular, so I think that, again, like you want to make your lineup with them a little bit more contrarian to compensate for that, but overall they are good plays. And as I have in my top stacks tool, I think they have the best chance of putting up to the top fantasy point scoring performance tonight.
Absolutely. On the other side, Kansas City down there, right kind of in the middle bottom. in top stack potential. Their ownership always seems to be higher than that, though, because of pricing. Do you have any interest here, or is it a stay away spot for the Royals?
Yeah, the pricing. Usually, I don't like if guys are too cheap, and we're seeing some guys that are super cheap tonight. The bottom of the order for Kansas City, Ryan McBroom, 2,600. He's projected to have 13% ownership. I mean, this guy, is just an average player, so like I don't think that's worth that ownership there. So probably stay away.
Okay. Talk to me about Milwaukee and Pittsburgh. You've got Steven Brault on the mound, Chase Anderson going for the Milwaukee Brewers. Neither of these guys, and they shouldn't be expected to, but neither of them are particularly good. But Steven Brault, because of his price on a two-pitcher site like DraftKings, 4,300. Right now, we're projecting him for 15+% ownership, which is pretty insane. Obviously nothing on FanDuel as to be expected, and then nothing on Yahoo either. But Steven Brault getting ownership on DraftKings right now, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty crazy because, I mean, Milwaukee is a batter's park. They got a good team. Not quite as good post Christian Yelich, unfortunately, but still, I'm finding that Steven Brault is one of my top plays of the day because his salary is so low, 4,300, and he gets strikeouts 18%. Should probably be priced more like 5 to 6K. And getting cheap pitchers really fits with my strategy of trying to get some have to be contrarian spots. So I could see myself going for a lot of Brault tonight.
Okay. I'm not opposed to it. I mean, I don't think he's particularly good, but I guess you don't need to be at 4,300. Then among Steven Brault, Felix Hernandez, and Jordan Zimmerman, who do you think you like the most? Who do you think you'll have the most of those three?
I like Brault the most because he's the cheapest, and then Zimmerman is second. And who is the third guy again? Sorry.
Felix Hernandez. You had mentioned that you had some interest there too.
I'm trying to scroll through my crunch here. I guess he's not in it. But Felix, let me watch this game. I think that with these guys, they're like long shots, so you want to have exposure to all of them if you're making more than one lineup. Felix is interesting because the stack against them is probably going to be popular, but the price and value aren't as good, so he'd probably be third on the list.
Okay. So Chase Anderson, I don't see really any real reason to get there. Do you? I mean, I don't think we need to spend much time on him right now. He's getting no ownership. I feel like that's the way it should be, unless you have another opinion.
No, I agree. Milwaukee just hasn't been running their starters out long enough.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the Milwaukee Bats against Brault? I know you like him, but my guess is that, there's still a lot of upside here, and Milwaukee still getting top 10 ownership tonight.
Yeah, they're great. It's a great park for home runs, and Brault is not a good pitcher. He's just cheap. So I think I'll have a lot of Milwaukee as well. Maybe the Brault ownership on DraftKings will mitigate the Milwaukee ownership. So I think that stacking them up is pretty reasonable.
Okay. Yeah, the lineup for Milwaukee, of course, Yelich out for the year, but you have Kane, Grandal, Moustakas, Braun, Castanera, Hernan Perez, Manny Pena, Orlando Arcia, and Anderson. It's clearly not the prettiest lineup once you get past the 4-hole hitter, but I think you're also going to have an opportunity to get quite a bit of cheap bats. Kane is cheap, Perez is free, Arcia is free. Some of these guys are just really, really discounted, and in large part because they're not very good. But hey, Brault is getting ownership, so there is that. Do you have any Pittsburgh bats interest?
They are super low owned, so I think they could be a contrary play, but not really on my radar.
All right, now in Houston at Minute Maid, you've got Zack Greinke and Jaime Barria. Greinke's price has fluctuated a ton this season, in large part because the guy just doesn't get a ton of strikeouts. When he does, he'll get some 7, 8 or whatever, but nothing crazy. He's 9,800 against the Angels, who have clearly fallen off this year. But Zack Greinke, to me, it was surprising, honestly, that his ownership was as high as it was when I saw it. And we had recently updated the ownership projections. He's coming in towards the top among starting pitchers. I'm assuming it's not surprising to you, but yeah, I was a little bit surprised by that.
Yeah, I think that it's probably not played as good because of that ownership. I can understand it certainly because he's a 345 favorite. In baseball, in baseball terms, like this is probably the best matchup or second best of the night because Mike Trout is out and stuff. But we know as fantasy players that winning the game doesn't get you a ton of points. You gotta get the strikeouts, and the Angels are tough in that respect.
All right. Do you like Houston hitters against Barria? I know you're not playing him, or at least I would hope not. And if you are, you need to tell me why, because I'll happily listen. I just hate playing anyone against this Houston team. They're powerful, they're good, they're stacked from top to bottom, and they don't really strike out.
This is great, man. It's almost like a counseling session where maybe I can give some bad plays and you can give me some feedback here. But I think Houston, somehow they're going under the radar tonight. They are extremely expensive. So this would be a team where I might go with Dylan Cease and Felix or Jordan Zimmerman and then stack them up, and hopefully no one else is going to take that risk.
I mean, it just feels like a team that any day they're overlooked, they can break a slate.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they have one of the highest team totals of the night, so that wouldn't be any surprise.
Yeah, 6.2. I really like the idea of that. And the truth is, while none of these really cheap pitchers make you feel all that comfortable with them, you know, it's not like it's encouraging to run Felix or Zimmerman or Brault out there. There are guys at that price point that could give you a decent enough game to win a tournament with Houston bats.
For sure, man. We see it all the time in fantasy. Like, you could have the greatest spot in the world against Chichi, Gonzalez, and Coors. Come on, get 0 runs.
Oh, fucking Chichi. I hear you, man. And I would like, it does feel like with Houston, I wouldn't be targeting one-offs here, just straight, stacks or nothing, right?
Brantley is well priced on DraftKings. That would be the only really one-off I'd go for.
Yeah, he is cheap. I guess, you know what, while we're at it, I'll ask you about Reddick. He's 38. He's batting 7th, but he's 3,800. Anything there. And Mlb Dfs is wow. You know what? These guys, now that I look at it, Alex, like a few of them, they're core guys. Their best guys are expensive, but it's not that crazy when you look at Brantley at 44. I'm just using DraftKings right now, but Reddick at 38. Diaz batting 6th at 3,900. Chirinos is 43, so it's not crazy, but as a team, they're not that insanely. They're not as high priced as I thought they would be, actually.
Yeah, there are some cheaper guys, so you can make a lineup here for sure.
But yeah, Alvarez, man, that price is insane. Do you have any interest in Angel bats?
There's some decent values, but their team outlook is one of the lowest on the slate, so no.
Okay, Oakland and Texas. We've got 3 to go here. And afterwards, we'll do as we always do and turn it over to the Live Before Lock crew that take you out of the work week and into the weekend. Really just out of the work week. It is Josh Engelman, Jake Hari, final show of the night. So stick around for that right here on the same page. You don't have to go anywhere. Of course, youtube.com/awesomeo. But right here, Josh will play you your music and you'll get started. You go up to 7:05 lock. Oakland and Texas, Mike Minor, and I think it's Luzardo expected to be the long guy. Interestingly enough, Mike Fiers is getting the opener role. Is it just that he's had 2 terrible appearances recently and now he's thrown in as an opener? Because Fiers had been pretty good this season. What happened?
Yeah, I need to read the reports here because it looks like he was pulled from his last start because of nerve irritation.
Huh.
But I do see that he is supposed to get an abbreviated start today, so that takes him off my radar. With the other guy, Luzardo, I don't know who that guy is. Do you know anything about him?
Never heard of him in my life.
So what I do in this situation is I will, or Jesus Luzardo. So what I'll do is I'll look and see, what's the longest they've gone in a game. He's gone 14 batters in one and 10 batters in the other. That's not really a long enough leash to put up a GPP winning performance. So I probably won't have him either.
Yeah, me neither. Plus, I have enough respect for. Actually, as a matter of fact, talking about this for a second, we don't have a ton of time, but the Oakland Athletics have just been unbelievable against lefties this year. Jesus Luzardo is a lefty, so it's an interesting spot. The problem is, like, how many innings is Fiers going to throw? It definitely doesn't seem like Fiers is in a spot where he only goes an inning. It feels like to me he probably goes like 3 or so, and then Luzardo comes in and gives you 3 or so innings. So that kind of just I'm sorry, I meant Texas, not Oakland against lefties. I had it all mixed up. So forget literally everything I just said.
We're good, man.
I thought he was pitching for Texas, but that wouldn't make sense. Mike Minor for Texas. He is a lefty, though. He is a lefty, and Oakland has demolished lefties this year. But Mike Minor is also one of the better lefties in the league. So who has the advantage in this matchup?
I think that some of the A's have some serious price cuts today. We don't have a lineup yet, but Matt Chapman stands out at 3,800. Got the platoon split against Minor, and he's got a huge power. And being ready versus lefty, that's the main thing you get is increase in power. So that's a really nice play. Chris Davis as well. It continues to be really cheap, but you know what you're getting with him. Well, I could take some shots here, but I think that they may be an optimizer play too, where they might be more owned than you think, even though Minor is on the mound.
Okay. Yeah, you could be right there. Right now, seeming like you're actually getting a decent amount, nothing crazy, but a decent amount of Oakland. Any bats from the opposite side of this game in Texas?
Not really.
Okay. Dodgers, Colorado, Kershaw, Peter Lambert. Kershaw is actually rather popular today as well. It seems, you know what it is on this slate? You don't have anyone that's crazy popular, and then by like 7 or 8 guys that are, pretty similar in that 15 to 20 range. Are you on Kershaw here against the Colorado Rockies at Dodger Stadium, not Coors Field?
You gotta like a lefty versus the Rockies because a lot of their good players are lefties, but Kershaw is his price. Like, he's Kershaw 2017. He's been good this year, but not as much with the strikeouts. So I'm not super enthusiastic about it, but on the night slate, I can see myself having a ton.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like you're just better off getting to Degrom at this point.
I mean, he's had a shorter leash too. He's only, or I guess there are a couple of games recently where he got 100 pitches, but there are 4 in a row where he's around 90. So I'd be concerned that he doesn't go as long as he could.
Right. And with a few of the guys up top, you don't have that concern, which is, it definitely makes a big difference. Talk to me about the other side of this, not Peter Lambert, but the Dodger hitters.
They're in good spots. I mean, Jock Peterson's cheap, maybe leading off. We got the lineup. He's leading off. Max Muncy is second in the order. He's cheap on all 3 sets as well. So that makes a pretty nice foundation for a stack. And I think they're going to be a good play tonight, except the ownership may be high.
All right. Yeah, I was wondering what ownership would look like on this team, hoping it would be down, but it's actually right now, you're right, it's pretty high. I do still like the Dodgers though. I'd put them in my, top 5 or 6, but from a tournament standpoint, I think Houston's really interesting here. We talked about them just a few minutes ago. With how low that ownership is, it really makes them an intriguing tournament play against Barria. So with that 6+ run total, I like that a lot. Last game, Alex, take it away. Merrill Kelly, Eric Lauer. It's at Petco Park, Diamondbacks and Padres. Is there anything in this game that stands out to you?
The park is bad for bats, but there's some really good values. Rojas batting second is dirt cheap, and he's an all right player. He steals some bags. Manny Machado is really cheap on DraftKings. So I could see some one-offs here, but the outlook for the game because of the park is probably not that good overall.
Okay, so no real batters, nothing that you really would see yourself prioritizing.
Nah, and the pitchers don't get enough Ks either, so I'm not really on this game.
Okay. Who are your top stacks for today? I just mentioned I gave my own anti-optimizer stack. Would be Houston. Who are your top stacks today?
Washington and Seattle. I go through and name all 28 just so we can get that clip, but I'll leave it too.
Hey, before you head out, actually, you're not going anywhere, but hit us with a thumbs up if you like the show. You want to see more and you want to help support us, awesomemode.com and our YouTube channel. It does help us and allows us to keep doing free content like this every day. So we appreciate you. Good luck tonight. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. Have a great weekend. Be sure to listen to Awesemo Radio, Sirius 210 XM87, myself and Manny Laura, Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern, Sunday, 7 to 9, breaking down all of the games before they happen on Saturday and recapping it after it happens on Sunday. I just came up with that now. That's a nice ring to it, Alex. Real nice ring to it. We'll be back with you on Monday's Deeper Dive. Stick around, Josh and Jake, taking you up to Lock on Live Before Lock show. See you on Monday.
Live Before Lock, Friday, September 20th. Surprise, surprise, it's Jake and I. Have you guys had enough yet? I don't think you have. We are getting good at this. I can do this live before lock show in my sleep. Jake, how you feeling about this lovely 14 gamer?
Looks like a good one. I've heard you and Adam and Alex and Lofty go through this a couple times, so I feel pretty ready. I feel like I've got my exposures in a place that I want them. MLB hasn't been too kind to me lately, but I feel locked in on this slate.
Yeah. Hasn't been too kind to me as well. But what are you going to do? That's DFS for you, you know? Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's bad. Most of the time, it's just kind of indifferent.
I would appreciate it if most of the time it was indifferent. I think a lot of the time, if you're playing multi-entry tournaments, these 150 tournaments with the payout structures the way they are, I would take indifferent more nights than not. But
that's fair.
That's
fair. Okay, let's get the plugs out of the way first. Live before lock is the promo code. One big word, 50% off your first month of Awesemo Plus if you want to see everything that we have to offer. MLB, NBA soon, NHL soon, PGA, NASCAR, MMA, tennis, college football, sports betting, WNBA. I'm probably missing something, but either way.
Did you say NASCAR?
I think I did.
Yeah,
50% off your first month with the promo code live before lock. One big word. And is that official? Yes. Gene Segura scratched.
Correct. I was just going to mention that. You beat me to it. I don't think that's going to, break the slate or anything.
No,
but yeah.
No, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
We are also brought to you by Fantasydraft. They are the presenting sponsor of our live before lock shows. If you want to play rake-free daily fantasy, only place where you can play rake-free, clear across the board, they are running their $750,000 rake-free contest called the Hooters Main Event. It's the largest rake-free contest anywhere for Week 3 of the NFL. Only can find that on Fantasydraft. Go to fantasydraft.com, use the promo code AWESEMO, and get a 7-day free trial. All of the entry fees get paid out to the users. You can't beat it. Go check it out. Fantasydraft.com. Promo code AWESEMO. Let me grab this updated lineup for... Oh, the Oakland lineup came out too. That's fun. You grab that quickly and throw this in the old sheet and let's start talking.
Yeah, just quick on Fantasydraft. Yeah, you're not going to find really a better tournament than this $25. And if you're not a big shooter, no worries. Fantasydraft still got you covered. You can play for $10K at first in the $4. You can play for, what is it, $2K in the $1, both 150 maxes. So if you like MME, Fantasydraft is the site for you. So pick your subscription, low monthly rate, but no rake. So well worth the price of admission here.
Absolutely.
Over on Fantasydraft.
Actually, you know what? We have something else to talk about to start the show, and I don't really want to talk about it if I'm being honest.
What is it?
Jake got a double dong last night.
Oh man, that's right. You scared me for a second.
Yeah, that didn't go well. I do want to acknowledge it. That's probably the dagger into me right now. I don't think that I can catch both you and EMAC at this point. So I need to try to maintain pick rate.
Yeah, I looked at the sheet today. I was going to go update it.
I updated it last night.
Okay.
I had to do the early bird, so I was awake after it happened. So I was just like, okay, I should do this.
Yeah, I think they were back-to-back at bats. I mean, a couple no-doubters there. So definitely didn't get cheated there with my Nelson Cruz pick. I just wanted to finally get one with him.
Yeah, I didn't want you to get one with him.
He gave me two.
He did.
So you were, yeah. I mean, we don't have to update now, but
I wanted to give you your due right out of the gate.
No, I mean, we could have waited, but yeah, I appreciate it. Go Nelson Cruz, baby.
Yeah, whatever. All right, let's talk shop. We've got relatively flat pitching ownership today on DK. Degrom, Kershaw, Greinke, Anibal Sanchez, Felix Hernandez, Jordan Zimmerman, Steven Brault, all in like the high teens, low 20s. We'll start at the top. Degrom and Kershaw are the guys that are breaking free from the pack. They're double everybody else in the 10K range. Who do you like the most?
I like Degrom the most.
Okay.
I don't know yet. It's looking close, but I don't know if I'm going to get over the field on any of these guys.
Okay.
So I just think DeGrom's the best play out of that range. I would like to get to some Bieber, but with what I'm trying to do tonight, paying up over DeGrom is going to be difficult to do, especially when he doesn't project for more points than DeGrom. So I'm getting to, let's see, where are we at here on DeGrom actually? Yeah, 30% DeGrom right now.
Okay.
In my 150. I think I'm comfortable with that. I want it to be somewhere in the 20 to 35% range. Kershaw was one of the other ones you mentioned. I'm like half the field on him right now. Good spot for Kershaw for sure from a run prevention standpoint. You and Adam talked about run prevention this morning, and maybe it was more Adam, but just it being random and even more so with the baseballs now. And I kind of agree with that. So these good run prevention spots for these expensive pitchers, I mean, they still have to be really, really awesome from a strikeout perspective to pay off for an 11K price tag. And I'd just rather go with DeGrom if I'm getting up here. What was the last guy you mentioned?
I mentioned DeGrom and Kershaw, the only two guys that are above, that are at like 20 ownership.
Yeah. So like DeGrom, quite a bit better than Kershaw. The Kershaw lineups I have will probably just be spots that I can't pay the extra $800 to get up to DeGrom.
Yeah, I like them both. I'm only playing on FanDuel tonight. DeGrom grading out as my top guy. Kershaw would come in second. Charlie Morton is essentially tied with Kershaw. I could go either way. Basically, if I can't find the extra 900, it goes to Kershaw. Or if I can find the extra 900, it goes to Kershaw rather.
Yeah, that's a pretty good plan. I think on FanDuel, as I always talk about, you pay up if at all possible. Someone's ringing my doorbell. Don't know what that's about. But I think other people are home. So I'm not going to go leave and get that right now unless they ring it again.
No.
I would get to more Bieber, I think, on FanDuel than I would on DraftKings just because he is a nice pivot. What's the ownership difference there? I haven't looked at FanDuel ownership too much today.
DeGrom at 20, Bieber at 11, Kershaw at 14. I won't get to Bieber at all.
Oh, I would get to DeGrom and Bieber and probably little Kershaw.
I'll get to DeGrom and Kershaw, but I won't get to Bieber in between.
That's fair. I mean, would you be shocked if any one of these guys was the highest raw point pitcher tonight? I would
not at all. I've got DeGrom at a 35% chance to hit the target on FanDuel, and then it's Bieber at 19, Kershaw 11, Castillo 11, Morton at 12, even like Greinke 8, Minor 7. Any one of those guys can pop off today.
Yep. Oh, I even forgot Mike Minor was on the slate.
Yeah.
He's had such a good season, but he's never seemingly relevant for DFS.
Pitches on the same slate with a lot of other studs that are better than him regularly.
He gets no respect from Vegas. Like, it's too bad because he'd probably be like if he went to Houston or something like that, be a guy we play all the time. But he's just always priced up and has a high run total against him.
What do you have any other thoughts on any of the other guys at the top? Luis Castillo, Morton, Bieber for DraftKings.
Morton, I saw he was in your Spotlight Pitchers article today. Have you come off that entirely? I mean, I don't think I would get to him at 11-1 here, but is this total correct for the Red Sox? 3.6 implied runs?
Yeah. If Mookie Betts would have been out of the lineup, I would have played Morton over any other hitter today. But he's in the lineup, and that is massive for them. Leading off, massive low K guy. Just getting his lack of strikeouts out of the lineup is massive. But with him being at the top, I mean, the rest of the lineup is kind of gross. But they've got a little bit more of talent in it today than they did yesterday. But Mookie just being back took me off of Morton.
Okay.
On DraftKings, at least. On FanDuel, where he's 9,500, I still think that's feasible because of the Red Sox price.
Yeah, so I'm not targeting this game, but I was just looking at Morton's money line here, and 180 makes sense. Morton's awesome and Porcello's not. And the Rays have been good. But like just seeing the Red Sox well under 4 implied runs is kind of crazy. So that just kind of stuck out to me. Maybe I should be giving Morton a little bit of a longer look, but I didn't get to any of him. Probably because just strikeouts. There's better spots for these expensive pitchers like Degrom. Castillo, 11% ownership on DraftKings. I'm just kind of indifferent to it. He's not a guy I'm going to make a big stand on. He's a dog at 10-5. That's kind of a strike against him. The Mets they have a pretty solid lineup today and a bunch of lefties. They've got power, basically 1 through 7 in their lineup. So I think just a tough spot for Castillo, even though it is a pretty appealing price.
Yeah, I don't have much interest there in Castillo at 10-5. I don't have a problem with Castillo at 10-5. I do with everybody else that's around him at similar price points.
Yep.
It's hard to go to 10-5 there when Kershaw's at 10-8 in like a much better spot.
Yep.
$9,800 Zack Greinke. 19% projected ownership right now. Adam was not a fan this morning. I, on the other hand, have a little bit different of a feel. Doesn't look like Alex is following me. So, any thoughts on Greinke today?
Nah, I think he probably has a good game.
Sons of bitches.
What's that?
Hate you both.
We finally got to hating each other after a year and a half, at least one way. But so I don't get the 19% ownership. I think if he wasn't
higher,
getting,
right?
No, he should be lower. If he wasn't getting like being one of the chalkiest pitchers on the slate, I think I would probably get to some of him. But if you just take a look at the projections on the site, he doesn't like at that price and that ownership. You have to have some separation between you and the guys in your price range. And yeah, he's up near the top, but there's a pitcher that's much cheaper than him and that projects just better raw points. And he's got a third of the ownership right now on Alex's projections. So for me, it's pretty easy. No Greinke. I don't feel like I'm missing out on this. I think he probably has a good game, and he's probably a good candidate to get you 18 DK points. But I don't think that's winning you anything here, and the Bats are pretty tasty tonight.
Big Dylan Cease fan today?
Big Dylan Cease fan today.
Wow. Better than Dylan Covey, that's for sure.
I heard that today. Not your finest moment, but
no,
definitely a mistake that you could easily make even when doing MLB shows all season.
I mean, that's the problem. I've been doing them all season that my mind is just melted.
Oh, yeah.
I was so confused, and Adam was so confused at why I was confused. It was just a thing. Anyway, I like Greinke.
Yeah. I had Homer Bailey winning a Cy Young one year, and I still don't know who I was thinking of a couple weeks ago. I just said that flippantly to Adam, and I still don't know. It's just like all these names run together when you're not watching religiously. It's not like there's red zone for baseball,
right?
I mean, maybe there is, but it wouldn't be as interesting.
Sorry, I mixed up my two Dylans that both have 5-letter C last names on the same team.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not like Dylan Covey was not a prospect either.
Well, they all have to be.
That's not true.
Unless you just throw on the gun at the Oakland game?
Yeah.
That one guy, he threw 94 or something.
I've been in a situation where I saw that happen. He just didn't get signed at the gun. I think I talked about it before on the show.
Someone threw 94 on the gun?
One of my best friends, 91.
Oh my God.
I mean, he was our starting pitcher in baseball my senior year. He was a quarterback on the football team. Went and played quarterback in college. So, I mean, he was big dude that could throw gas, but
God.
It was at the it was when he was still fully training for football. So his arm was in great shape. He was in great shape. And it was at the speed pitch at the Phillies game, and he hit 91, and people were just like, yo.
Yeah, if he was hitting like mid 90s, he's probably getting some calls.
Yeah, I mean, he could have went and played baseball somewhere, but he just preferred football. So he didn't even attempt to take any recruitment for baseball. He was better at baseball than football, in my opinion, but that's neither here nor there. It's hard to separate yourself from the pack in baseball, but in football, he was like 6'3.5" and projectable body. So,
right.
Anyway, talk to me about Dylan Cease, because I am not there as much, and I greatly prefer Anibal Sanchez. But I think I'm I'm not on a public ownership island, but I might be on a projection island.
What do you mean, projection island?
I mean, like Alex loves Cease, right?
He does love Cease.
Yeah.
So it's not the greatest price in the world for Cease. He has been good.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I think that we just got the Rangers lineup as well, just in case you were looking for it.
Let's see.
I didn't know if it mattered at all. I figured it didn't, but I just saw the
pop-up. It does for Fires for me.
Okay.
Definitely matters. Lefty. Wow. 6 out of the first 7 lefties. Trevino, DeShields. I mean, not overly concerning. I don't think it's that much of a different lineup than what we expected, right? Maybe one swapped out.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything too crazy. Cease.
Yeah, just match up against Detroit could not be better. Pretty neutral weather in Detroit. There is some warm weather across the U.S. today, so you're getting some more like August, July type of weather games here, and Detroit is not one of them. A bunch of righties stacked at the bottom of the order, and then he's just not getting owned either, and he projects great. So I liked him just as a first look, but once you start putting the numbers behind it, if Alex is this high on him, just kind of backs me up in what I'm saying. Like, it looks like a good spot, even though the price doesn't stand out. You don't think of Cease as this type of pitcher all of a sudden, but 24% K rate against Detroit as a righty, you have my attention even for mid 8K.
Okay. Yeah, I just trust, and it's something I said on the show earlier today, and Adam ripped me for it, but I trust the floor of Sanchez a lot more than I trust Cease today.
That's crazy to think about Anibal Sanchez having a floor.
I know.
Like, this guy was garbage a couple years ago.
Yeah,
what happened to him?
Resurrected now, I guess, right?
He was with Detroit, right? And he was just garbage.
Yeah. He had a stretch where things weren't as awesome.
Wasn't he really awesome early in his career?
I don't know about really awesome. Got him up here.
I'm tepid to say anyone was like a Cy Young contender now after the Homer Bailey.
1 year for the Tigers, he went like really crazy and had a 6-win season and like mowed down a ton of people. But no, I mean, he had a stretch of 5 straight years where he was like a highly above average starting pitcher, and then 2015, it just fell apart. I mean, he's been bad this year, so it's weird. He's been bad from an advanced stats this perspective this year, but he's got a 3.86 ERA. He had a 2.83 ERA last year, but performed worse than that. So I don't know what to make of it.
What was his xFIP like? Over 4
this year or last year?
4.5.
381 last year.
Oh, really? That's actually
136
really
innings.
good. Wow.
So he hasn't really been going like a lot of starts either. 28 this year, most in a while.
Man, he's pretty good.
Yeah,
much better than I expected.
It'll work. So yeah, I've got my eye on Sanchez, as does the public. Cease seems to be the smart play, I guess. If that's what Alex is on, you should trust that one more.
Well, I don't disagree with the Sanchez call. Just being somewhat of a slave to the projections.
Sure.
Like, as you probably should be in MLB if you're multi-entering. He just projects better in Alex's projections, and I trust those a lot. It might be different elsewhere. Like, I have Anibal. I'll probably get to him in like the 10% range.
Oh.
But if the ownership is going to be this wide of a gap between the two, then it's a pretty easy choice for me to just get a bunch more Cease.
I assume you don't have interest in anybody else for a while after Anibal Sanchez's price. Where's the rest of your ownership coming in? That Felix Hernandez, Jordan Zimmerman, Steven Brault?
Yeah. Keep going. You're getting them all.
I think I got them all. Hernandez, Zimmerman, Brault. Are there any more?
Hernandez, Zimmerman, Brault, Mike Fiers. Ever heard of him?
Really?
Yeah.
How are you getting to Mike Fiers?
Well, it's a great park and it's Texas. And like I said, projections, of course, matter a ton. Let me see if
but Alex's projection for Mike Fiers sucks. It's
what is it?
Way worse than mine.
Let me see what it's at.
7.1.
Let me see what I have him in my spreadsheet right now. Oh, that's why. So he's going to come way down.
Okay.
That's why
I was just like, dude, I don't know what's going on here.
I must have. So I wasn't paying attention to baseball earlier in the day. But I was, I guess like in the middle part of the day. So I just assumed they found something that said he was going to go deeper than what you guys were anticipating this morning. But do we have a pitch count here for Fiers? Because he's not fully
I'm not sure. I gave him 4 innings.
Okay. So that's going to push him down. Let me add this up. I'm still going to get to some of him, I'm sure.
Okay. Yeah, because when I looked at the number, I was like, I mean, there's no way. Seeing Felix Hernandez and Zimmerman and Brault's projections, I was like, there's no way you're getting Fiers.
All right, let me see. Did he get completely? He didn't get filed out, I don't think, completely. Still got to a few shares of Fiers when I refilter. But yeah, the other 3 guys you mentioned, Brault, Hernandez, Jordan Zimmerman. Yeah, not a pretty trio of pitchers to take here, but kind of our philosophy, I guess, as a site is just that if they're cheap and breathing and can go 5 innings or even 4 in Hauser's case sometimes, I think he actually did get to 5. You just play them and you play a bunch of these different guys, because if the chances are it's probably going to work out for 1 or maybe 2 of these guys in that they won't kill you. It's really tough for a $4K pitcher, $4,300 pitcher in Brault to kill you. And a guy who, even though he doesn't have much strikeout upside, he's not Agrizal with a 10% K rate. Like, he's at 18. He's respectable. Can go 5 innings. Like, those are the positives for basically all of these guys. As far as I'm concerned, Brault, Hernandez, and Zimmerman are essentially the same play. Ownership agrees with that. Projection essentially agrees with that as well. So playing a bunch of all those guys, I'm overweight on each one.
Yeah, I like Zimmerman the most, and then Brault, and then Hernandez. But like is a word that I'm using in that sentence that doesn't really convey what that means. They are the guys that are going to show up, and those are the guys that I'll play, but I don't advocate for that. Much like Mike Montgomery was it Mike Montgomery last night?
Yes.
Okay, I just figured I was naming the wrong guy again.
Got tossed.
Yeah, well, good, because he sucked. Just like Mike Montgomery last night, I may have somebody like that in 30% of my lineups. That doesn't necessarily mean that I think they're like a likely success story. They're just the best of a bad situation.
They just have to be more likely than the guy next to them, or more likely than their ownership.
Yeah.
Or there's a huge gap in ownership between the guys. It's all a numbers game.
You could, I mean, the guy that finished second in the $15 still had Montgomery. So
yeah, was he even positive?
Negative, or I think it was like 0.4 or 0.7 or something like that. You mentioned having guys if they were breathing. I mean, it was dangerously close to being better off if he wasn't breathing.
So he started off hot too.
I know.
It was strikeout, got Cruz, and I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I was like, cool, I'm glad I have 35%.
Yeah, and then I think he was cruising for 2-3 innings, and then Sano got him. Cruz got him. Garver got him, and then he got thrown out because he was complaining about the strike zone. Like, that was the reason you were giving up 450-foot bombs.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had a rough go in innings 4 and 5.
All right, we got 2 things to do quick. So I'm going to put one on the screen right now. Doing another giveaway, everybody. I've got it up on the screen. Here are the instructions. If you would like to win a 2019 Awesemo Plus season pass for the NFL, go to The old Twitter machine. Osmo_com is the handle. You need to reply to the pinned tweet with the total amount of passing yards that Jared Goff will have in Sunday Night Football against the Browns. What you need to do is retweet that tweet, like that tweet, follow Osmo_com and the Osmo NFL account, and reply with that Jared Goff passing yards guess. At that point, we will be picking 2 winners from the finalist on September 23rd, which will be Monday afternoon. So check that stuff out, guys. Pin tweet at Osmo_com.
What would you guess? We always do these guesses. Jared Goff against the Browns. I'm in this pick'em pool. I think the Browns are like maybe a 2-point dog or 2.5-point dog in that game.
So
it makes it tricky.
Let's see. Jared Goff passing yards against the Browns. Or prop on this?
Dude, we were close to the Odell one. We kind of undershot him. I think he was at like 160.
Yeah, he broke that one, and that did it.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I don't even know how much Jared Goff passes. 267 yards.
Is that his over under?
No, I don't know. I couldn't find an over under quickly.
That sounds close. Let's see. I think I don't know. I'm kind of caught in the middle as far as what I want the Browns to do, because it's like this team that no one likes the team that is cocky all of a sudden after they haven't, like, before they've done anything. And I'm kind of undecided because I love Odell. I haven't made up my mind on Baker just yet, but everyone's acting like he's the second coming. I'm not so sure just yet. So I don't know if I want like the Browns to have another 7-9 season and laugh at them, or if I want them to be good. So I don't know. I think I think the Browns are gonna win this game. Give me Goff for like 308.
Okay, there we go. We got a message. We're about to get into dong picks. Spags is waiting in line to get his MacBook screen fixed at the Apple Store, and he said he would like whichever Dodger that isn't picked between Bellinger, Muncy, and Jock. So at this point, I think that you and I should just take 2 of those guys. Emac should take the 3rd.
Could you imagine?
It's fine with me. It's the ultimate troll move. I'll get a lot of satisfaction out of it. That's for sure.
I'm actually not going to take a Dodger.
Okay. Well, let me announce everything that's happened and the current standings first and foremost, because you deserve it. And I hate saying that out loud. So last night, I didn't get one. Spags didn't get one. Jake got the double dong with Nelson Cruz. His 4th double dong of the season. Not Cruz. Well, I mean, Cruz probably has more than that. That's Jake's 4th. Emac got one with Franmil Reyes as well. So here we are. Emac and Jake are tied at 32 dongs apiece. Emac has made a correct pick 29 times. Jake 28. The double dongs have been saving him. Jake is ahead in pick rate 22.2% to 22.1%. This is so tight. I am in 3rd in dongs at 28, but I am in 1st in pick rate still at 23. So I'm hanging on by a thread to at least some sort of bragging rights. Spags in 4th at 24, Randone at 11, Spags in 4th in pick rate as well. It's going to be tight the whole way, man.
Yeah, it definitely is. There's a lot of things to be sorted out in this last week. So why? Well, I have 32 dongs, so the correct number of picks, or the pick percentage, is only based on the total correct. It's not based on the total dongs. It's based on correct picks.
Correct.
So we don't have another metric for total pick percentage.
You mean like home runs per pick or per pick?
Right.
I don't know. I guess we don't. Do you want me to add that quickly?
Well, I mean, we could. I'm just saying because I felt like I was like, oh.
Are you looking at the sheet right now?
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay. Well, you can watch me update this on the fly.
Okay. Well, either way, I'm just slightly ahead of EMAC. Still trailing you, so I still got some work to do. Need a couple home run picks in the next week. EMAC's probably just going to triple dong in the last day of the season after I get out to a lead. He had a 2-homer lead there for a while last night. His guy, Franmil, donged early. I was like, well, Nelson needs to dong now because otherwise I'm in trouble, and got bailed out there.
All right, there we go. How's that?
All right, so that's what I was like, man, I felt like I should have been higher, but that does make sense. The total, you can call it like total percentage. Yeah, percent dong. Yeah, there we go.
So Jake leads in percentage of dongs. I am in second, Emac in third, Spags in dead last behind Randone, so I like that metric most. How's that?
I don't mind that one either.
All right. Decided. Anyway, time to make picks. Go for it, dude.
All right. Let me... Not a great park here, but I think I'm going to take Juan Soto in Miami.
Okay.
Against Bobby Duggs.
Yeah. Oh, against Bobby. Man, that's shameful right there. How you going to go up against our dude?
I mean, he is our dude. He could still be my dude. Serve up a dong to Soto. Or two. Better yet.
All right.
We just got ownership, by the way. 6:33 Eastern. We just got ownership a few minutes ago.
Nice. I'd love to go back to my boy Grichuk, who did me dirty yesterday, but I'm not going to do that. However, I am going to go to the same game. Give me Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge.
Suck it, Wags back.
Yeah. Nice pick. Ooh, so you're on the Yankees tonight. I guess I am too. So I'm right there with you. I feel like I'm just playing all the good teams for hitting.
So who are we supposed to give the Spags? Bellinger, Muncy, and Jock? You can't have them all. Are they in order, I guess?
I don't know if they're in order or what, but let's just he said Bellinger first. Let's just give him Bellinger. Even though I wouldn't want to give him Bellinger.
Well, I'm going to give Emac whoever he wants, and then Spags can have the leftovers.
So if Emac wants protocol. Bellinger, yeah.
Where is Eric hiding right now?
Yeah, he's got to make a pick. We're down to the wire here.
Well, we will sit on that for a bit. Let's talk hitting. Top stack today, buddy. Who you got?
There's a couple concentrated at the top for me. Really, really, really like the Nats I really love the Nats ownership against good old Bobby Duggs. That is a solid implied total. Duggar, a guy he's been good. He's been decent against righties. So I really prefer the lefties. I love Soto, as I mentioned, but the righties in here are good. Rendon and Howie Kendrick. Asdrubal Cabrera was getting completely disregarded in the previous ownership update. I don't know if that's changed at all. Let me see if I can find him quick. Robles, same thing. He's up to 4%, but let me see where Asdrubal is at.
Emac's just working his way back, so he's going to be making his pick momentarily.
Okay, cool. So Asdrubal is just 3% now. So you got some nice low-end pieces in this Nats stack outside of one of my favorite bats in Soto. Do you like the Nats?
They're hard to get to for me. I mean, I love Turner, Eaton, Soto, Rendon. I like the talent. I think that there are so many teams out there that are slightly underpriced that they become sort of like an anti-optimizer spot. So while I do like them, I don't know how much I'm going to get.
That's fair. I mean, there's 28 teams tonight, so yeah. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of teams that I'm jealous that you have too that I won't get to play as much of. Ooh, man, that is a terrible lineup.
Ooh.
I'm reading in hockey chat. There's 18 players that I don't even. There's 2 guys I recognize for this preseason game. It's bad.
All right. Emacs got Jock.
Okay.
So we're giving Spags Bellinger. Unless he says that he wants Muncy in the next 20 minutes.
All right, so a couple Dodgers. I'd rather have Spags get one, but
don't say that.
Just no jock for me.
Tight. We're coming down the home stretch. About to run a little bit of a dummy crunch for myself, and then we're good to go. Let me make sure I have all this stuff in here. Good. Let her rip.
I'm glad you told me about Mike Fiers, because if you didn't, I would have got like 35% Mike Fiers. That would have been bad.
I'm glad I could help. E-Rush asked, Josh, did you go for that walk with wifey? You know I did.
Of course you did.
Yep, I
Because
did.
you mentioned it.
I did.
Everyone knew you were going.
It was more of an abbreviated one. My mom called during the walk, so we did a walk and chat. It was fun. Very fun. I'm staring probably the Astros in the face quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Why is my computer
Astros, Indians, Braves, Twins. Those seem to be the teams coming up the most in this little dummy crunch that I'm running.
Astros, Indians, Braves, Twins?
Yep.
All right.
And again, this is FanDuel.
So those are actually, well, yeah, I'm on DK, but those are actually all teams that I really like. Love Atlanta. That's nothing new. I'm a noted Braves fan. So I will be.
One of us has to be.
That's right. I will be playing them against Tyler Beatty every day of the week here. Wish it was a little bit warmer in Atlanta, but that's also keeping their run total down below astronomical levels. They might be up near the Twins if this was an 85-degree and humid day. So I like that for ownership reasons. I'm not saying anyone that's specifically jumping out to me on Atlanta other than the usual guys, but they're all getting a little bit of ownership. The top 4 or 5 bats, except for Albies, is under 5% when the rest of the guys aren't.
Yeah.
And I don't really understand why he's not getting more ownership than those other guys. Maybe just positional scarcity or something. Maybe second base is deep today. But yeah, I really, really like Albies. You mentioned who was another team you mentioned? Milwaukee.
Top stat: Indians, Astros, Twins, and Braves were what were popping up on my optimizer.
Yeah, Astros I would like to get a little bit more of, but Berea is bad versus righties, and the Astros have righties that can hit righties really well. So not like the most stacked Astros lineup in the world, but Altuve, Bregman, Correa, pretty decent place to start.
Yeah.
And then the lefties in there are Jordan Alvarez, who I adore. He's actually one of my highest exposed hitters on the night. He's priced way up too. So he's only at 5% ownership. Brantley's your value guy. I can't disagree on the Astros here. And then Dodgers. I like the Dodgers, but everyone likes the Dodgers. I don't know.
Can we figure out this Mariners thing right now?
What about them?
Have you seen them on the top stack tool?
Oh boy, I'm getting them already without factoring in the top stack tool.
Well, they're going to be your top stack then.
Oh boy, really?
Yeah.
Richard Blyer is that bad?
Evidently. Get ready. I mean, they're going to be your most owned team.
Yeah, yep. Double their top stack tool is free today, by the way. If anybody wants to follow along, I'll post the link in chat.
Oh, that's a good idea.
There you go.
Good idea.
If anybody wants to follow along for free, I posted the DK one. We've got it for a couple other sites as well. So feel free to check that out and use it to your liking. Yeah, Seattle coming up very undervalued on DraftKings. All right, let me put in the top stack tool. Just give it a quick paste and then refresh my filters here. And I'll tell you how much I have. Oh boy. This is they didn't jump up that high, but they're definitely a top 3 stack for me when I factor in the top stack tool.
I was very surprised to see that.
Yeah. They're
what am I missing there? What do you think is causing that to happen? I think that's a worthwhile question for right now.
So, well, Blair is not good. Is it? Did we decide a pronunciation? I don't remember hearing you guys talk about him this morning.
Oh, I don't even think we said his name.
All right.
I just said Aaron Brooks.
It's an opener situation. That's right. That's right.
I mean, whoever's pitching for Baltimore sucks.
Is it just a value team that's going overlooked?
They're the second top stack percentage.
I know. And they're a road team, so that's going to bump them up ahead of a lot of the home value teams.
Park will help.
Park is certainly going to help. It's definitely a Park upgrade for them.
But they stink. There are 2 legitimate hitters, 2.5 legitimate hitters in this lineup.
You're telling me you're not pumped to play 25% Shed Long tonight?
No, I couldn't pick him out of a 2-person lineup.
I don't think I could either. Why is Vogelbach batting 7th?
I don't know. Because they're the Mariners?
It's weird. I don't know. I'm going with Alex's projection here, though.
Yeah, like it's not like they grade out poorly for me. I just never would have envisioned a scenario where they were the second highest likelihood of being the top stack. That's craziness.
I would not have guessed. You could have given me 10 guesses. I would not have guessed Seattle.
No, neither would I.
After Minnesota.
Neither would I. So I am anxious to see what the boss man knows. He's the genius here.
I hope I find out in a profitable way tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Who else can we touch on? I'm just going to pull that top stack tool over and share it on the screen so people can see what we're talking about here. But right now, Seattle Mariners, number 2 top stack tool, just behind the Minnesota Twins, the Minnesota Jakes, I mean, as the highest top stack percentage, but Minnesota coming in a little bit over-owned for it. Not like you should be avoiding them or anything, but the ownership is already there. It's not there for Seattle, Washington, Houston, the Yankees. There's a lot of value to be had. But the one thing that I see on here is fade the Indians.
Fade the Indians, indeed. Fade the Indians?
Unless I'm reading this wrong, do we move the columms around? Yeah,
They're,
Indians 4.3% chance of top stack. Oh, did this just refresh itself?
Let's see.
They were at like 12% ownership when I was looking at it.
Oh, no. I never had them at 12.
Was I looking at FanDuel, maybe?
It could be. They might be way cheaper over on FanDuel.
Yeah. So on FanDuel, it's fade the Indians. 4.8% top stack percentage, 12% ownership share.
On DK, I think this one's tricky. It's always tricky for me when you've got, talking about the White Sox, you've got a team that's got a decent top stack percentage. 6% on this size slate is pretty solid. They've got a really good value grade, the highest on the slate, 9.2% on DraftKings, but their ownership share is double what their top stack percentage is. But then you add in the fact that they're going up against a somewhat chalky pitcher in Zimmerman, which is funny to say.
It is kind of, isn't it?
But then you also have to think about why do they have a 12% ownership share? Well, Daniel Palka accounts for, what is he at, 25%?
He's getting a little bit of ownership.
21%, because he's 2K.
Yep.
I mean, in your White Sox stack, I mean, he's been trash all year, too, and he's batting 8th. It's not like he's batting leadoff for 2K.
I hate that dude.
He was so good last year.
Yeah.
For DFS. Like, he wasn't so good. He was a solid, like, he was a playable hitter because he has power.
I had a sweat going, and they pinch hit for him in either the 9th or the 10th or something like that with them loaded.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember you tilting that.
I think it was an early slate, but I could be mistaking.
It was during the day because I think we were like on a call, or something. You were like, yeah, Palka just got pinch hit for.
Yeah, they might have been playing the Indians, but I could be wrong. That's the way that I remember it, at least. Fucking aggravating, man.
Dude, where? All right, have you seen this tweet that they put out of us?
No.
Oh my gosh! How has nobody noticed that?
That's fantastic.
Here, I'll post it. in YouTube chat. I was like, where did they get that picture of me? It must be on my Instagram or something. It has to be. So ridiculous, dude. How did nobody tell us about this?
The Photoshop skills are on point.
Yeah. Jake and Josh.
God, incredible.
That's a good one.
It really is.
I was scrolling through my Twitter. I was like, is that me? That is me. What's going on here?
How old is that picture?
Of me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's got to be... I mean, it was in college for sure. Probably like 4 years ago.
Okay. Because I'm pretty sure that mine is from 5 seconds ago. That's why I had to ask.
Yeah. Definitely a little bit younger in that picture.
Oh, that is fantastic. Kudos to whoever did that. Proud of you guys.
It had to be... Well, I'm guessing it was Brett who was up to that. But I'm not sure.
Nice work. Nice work. I like it. Yeah, I'm anxious to load in this crunch. I'm still waiting for it to finish off here. Not playing a ton of lineups or anything, but just looking at the way that my teams are graded out, hoping to get enough of the Astros and the Blue Jays. They're looking pretty under-owned for me. Same for the Yanks. Anxious. I don't know what I'm going to do with the Indians. A top stack tool is making me a little nervous because they grade out number 1 for me. So balancing that sort of information is going to be tricky.
Yeah. So yeah, with the top stack tool, I mean, great tool for a look. I think it's awesome for single entry too.
Yeah.
Like, because if you're just, part of what we do is give you the tools to make lineups in a less amount of time, to make competitive lineups in a smaller amount of time than making this all by yourself. So if I was a single entry player and just looking to play one stack tonight, whatever site, I would just download the top stack tool, see which are a couple of the most under-owned teams and pick one. For me, it would be one of Seattle, Washington, Houston, or the Yankees if I was single entering tonight. So that's how I would use it. It's not just for MME tools, but I think it's pretty cool for single entry as well.
I'm with you, man. I love this thing. It just scares me sometimes when it's just like, okay, I guess I got to do this.
For sure. It's like when you see your most exposed stack is the most over-owned, it's like, man, do I just go back to the drawing board or do I ride this out?
Who is your most exposed hitter right now?
Juan Soto. That's what I like to see.
Did you know that going in?
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Because I had refreshed it. He was like number 3 for me, I think, before. And when I put in the top stack tool, under-owned Nats stack got brought up just a touch. So Juan Soto, of course, his projection went up a couple percentage points, and that was all it took. So there we are.
Nice.
Who's
what
yours?
else can we touch on? I don't know yet.
Oh, okay. Are you still crunching right now?
Yeah, I have like 90 to go.
Did you do 600 or 300 or what?
500? Should have just let you keep guessing.
Yeah, I was gonna guess 400 next, but
would have been really funny to be like, nope, 500. Now, look, I mean, I can tell from looking at it that I will be over the field pretty massively on Astros and Blue Jays just because of where they are. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of it is probably just going to fall wherever it lies. I won't have the White Sox who have the chalk. They're the chalk. Yeah, the White Sox are chalk on FanDuel because of Polka, so I won't be there. That's the best I can tell you.
Yeah, anytime you can play a chalk hitter who's batting, I think he's batting like 0.33 on the season. You just have to do it. This will be the day he dongs. It'll just be a perfect.
I mean, if he does anything, he's gonna dong, right?
Probably. Yeah, or just like rip an RBI triple, bases loaded.
Guess what, guys? Just in case you're not getting enough of Jake and I, after we sign off in 10 minutes, set your alarms for sometime between 9:30 and 10 o'clock tomorrow. MLB Strategy Show Saturday edition featuring Jake and I again. So I might use that Jake and Josh thing as the thumbnail for tomorrow.
Shocking. Yeah. Me and you running it back one more time for the weekend.
Yeah.
And it's then it's NFL time. I suppose.
We'll have Sal and Randone doing the final look on tomorrow before Sunday. That show did really well last week, so I want to get to like 10,000 views on that one.
What did we get to last time?
8 and change. So,
God, we're such view whores.
We are. So get to 10. Hit the thumbs up on this show first and foremost. That'll be helpful. And then tomorrow at 2, I think.
Let me check this. I think it is 2 Eastern.
I have it here. 2 Eastern tomorrow. On the contrary, Chris Spags, Alex Baker, and guest that I do not know off the top of my head. But a good one. I know that much.
I recognize the name, but I don't want to attempt to pronounce it.
I don't know I don't know if we've talked about it yet or if it's publicly available information. Yeah, Alex will tweet about it. He might have already done that. Yeah, 3 more shows again tomorrow, and then the twofer on NFL Sunday.
Sounds good.
I'm excited for it. I don't know about you.
Yeah, excited to play some on Fantasy Draft again.
Same. Fantasy Draft and Yahoo will get most, if not all, of my output tomorrow. Or Sunday, rather. All right, Crunch is done for FanDuel. Save. Refresh. Let's see what we get. So, out of the gate. Now, remember, I'm playing like 22 lineups, so nothing crazy. I can't bring myself to play a ton of baseball any longer. But I need some skin in the game because I don't know how else to watch TV. All right. That's way more spread out than I was expecting. Really?
What spread out?
All of my hitting. I expected to get one team in like 50% of my lineups. That did not happen. I've got like, I don't know, 12 unique 4-man stacks. Kind of crazy. This is way different than I was expecting.
Would you be okay keeping it like that?
For the most part, yeah. I don't have much of an issue here. I don't have the White Sox. Some neutral on the Twins. Might try to get a little bit more Blue Jays. That worked. Ooh, I'm not neutral on the Twins any longer. There we go. That works. Still don't really have the White Sox. Just one 4-man stack. That's fine. Neutral on the Dodgers. Got a bunch of Mariners. I could probably try to get some. Who the Phillies play?
Phillies play.
Oh, they got a bad spot, right?
Bieber.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay, don't need to get there. Yeah, this isn't too shabby actually. I'm not too mad about this. 45% Degrom, 9% Bieber, 9% Kershaw. A little bit of Greinke, a little bit of Dylan Cease. This will work. Running with it. Not even making any more tweaks. I like it. Actually.
Yeah. All right. Here are my final exposures on DraftKings. Pretty spread out, but actually, did we get ownership at all in the last few minutes?
That is a good question.
Last one was 6:33 Eastern.
Yeah, I was gonna say 25 minutes ago.
I think I'm good. Cease 34, Felix 31, Brault 31, Zimmerman 26. No hitter above 23.3. 23.3 is Juan Soto for me. Bunch of Houston hitters in the approaching 20 range. Same thing with Seattle, 15 to 20%. So that's probably my second top stack tonight. Houston, some of the guys are spread around a little bit, but I really like them as a stack. Milwaukee is a team that's snuck up on me a little bit. I like your Yankees. DJ LeMahieu just never gets owned. Voigt's at 2%. I think there's a lot of good low-owned pieces in that Yankee stack. Twins coming in, fringe top 5. Once again, below the field on the Twinkies. That sucks, but they're chalk, and they've got the best chance of being the top stack, but not by a super wide margin, even though their total is larger than everyone else's. I think I'm going a little bit different tonight.
There you go. All right, I am locked and loaded. Lineups are pasted. Click and save. CSV edit. Upload and done. So final numbers. I have four. The most that I have of anybody is basically these four teams: Astros, Twins, Blue Jays, and Dodgers. I still have some exposure to the Indians. Little bit to the Mariners, Brewers, Orioles. Fade of the White Sox, which I'm okay with. And 45% Degrom. I'll take it. 15%. Steven Brault's projected. Did I? Oh, that's not the right ownership. I've got Draftkings ownership pasted in FanDuel, so let me fix this. I was like, there's no way Steven Brault is at 15% ownership on FanDuel.
Not a chance. He would, yeah.
It's also going to dramatically change my lineups too when I fix this.
Mm-hmm.
Glad I caught that.
Yeah, always nice to not make mistakes. While there is so NHL just locked. There's a 71% owned player on a 6-game slate. That's the highest I've ever seen in any NHL slate. So
all right, there we go. Essentially fading the Indians now. That is interesting. A lot of Astros, not nearly enough Blue Jays, so I'm going to bump that up. Trust myself. A little bit under on the Twins. That's way too much Brewers, in my opinion. Probably too much Orioles as well. No, that'll work. Now I have double the field of the White Sox, so this seems to be working out perfectly. The hell did the White Sox play? That's Dylan Cease and Tigers. Okay, that makes sense.
We just got a message in chat. What's up with Fires? I have 35%. Should I auto swap to like Zimmerman?
Yes.
DK? Yeah. Zimmerman's a better play. We haven't projected as a much better play than Fires. Fires' upside is very capped for 5,700, or maybe go to Brault or someone like that. He's clearly the worst option in that range.
7:02. Okay, still got time. Uh-oh. No, I don't. Now I can't sort anything.
Oh, no.
I mean, I have the dummy lineups in from before. I don't really care.
But you have Brault, don't you?
No. I was just looking at the projected ownership, and I saw that and was like, well, there's no way that Steven Brault is projected for 15% ownership.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
These I'll never get these back open again in time, I don't think.
That's the worst.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I will.
My spreadsheet skills aren't that good. 52 Marlin stacks? Goodness.
You?
No. Mr. Shadow Dog 13 in YouTube chat. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's 52 too many.
Yeah,
What? Now I'm opening my NFL model. That'll make this go faster, Josh.
Against the GOAT Anibal, you're gonna stack up a bunch of Marlins.
Craziness.
We just got ownership update.
I'm in no position.
I don't have time to. Yeah.
I also just don't care enough today. I might actually get to this. I might actually be able to update these.
Yeah, it sounded like you had pretty decent exposures, even if you don't get it in. So
perfect. There we go. I am going to get it in. 24. I think I've got a lot more Degrom now. Not a big problem to have.
Seattle will score 10 runs. I hope so, Marcus. I hope so.
Hope you're wrong, Marcus.
Going off now. Yeah, if they do, that Shadow Dog's going to be in a pretty good spot.
Okay, now I've got my true exposure. So heavy on the Astros, little bits of a couple other teams. 60% Degrom, 18% Greinke. Now we're talking. Now I'm good. Go Jake Degrom.
Indeed.
Thanks, Omar.
I don't get the reference.
You didn't watch The Wire?
I've watched the first season.
Okay.
Is that not...
Omar's in the first season, right?
No.
Yeah.
Which one's Omar?
Guy that carries around the shotgun?
Oh. Yes, he is definitely in the first season.
Yeah.
I don't know. Indeed? Is that what he says?
You should watch the rest of that. You should watch the other four.
I'm going to at some point.
Do that now. Start right now because we are locked. 7:05 Eastern, and I don't have a single second left in me to talk about any baseball. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to Fantasy Draft. Go to fantasydraft.com. Use the promo code AWESEMO for a 7-day free trial of rake-free DFS. Use the Live Before Lock promo code to sign up at AWESEMO. Get them 50% off your first month of AWESEMO Plus. Check out the pinned tweet at AWESEMO_com. Guess Jared Goff's passing yards. Follow the instructions in the post. Jake, anything else?
See you back tomorrow. Good luck tonight. Let's win some money. And, good luck. Have a good Friday, guys.
Adios, everybody. Good luck.